I did not record any of the blasting because I already have done video of the blasting, but this is using the pressure washer thing I got off Amazon. And that's 6 bags of play sand that I got at Home Depot. The only thing I suggest is that you strain it through a screen because there were pebbles and sticks and stuff in it, but it worked really well. As you can see, the frame has flash rusted, but I have Eastwood Fast Etch and a Scotch-Brite pad, and I've already tried it here, and you can see the difference between where I used the Fast Etch and where I didn't. And just using a Scotch-Brite pad with the Fast Etch removes all the rust, and it's going to prevent it from flash rusting until I get to do the epoxy primer. But I did get inside the frame, the top, the outside, and we even flipped the frame over and did the underside of it, including the other underside of the mounts. So all of this has been done, and it's ready to clean up and prep for prime and paint. We'll probably this weekend, I'm gonna use some of the Fast Etch just to remove this surface rust. But this weekend I'm probably gonna go ahead and take it back out, get a few more bags of sand, and finish the rest of it, so the frame will be all stripped and treated and ready for primer and paint in the future. There are a couple holes I need to fix, like this one here. At some point it looks like somebody used a torch to burn a hole in the frame, probably for mounting exhaust, and there's one on the other side. So I will take a step drill bit and clean those up a little bit so that they're not as rough. But other than that, frame's in pretty decent shape once it gets blasted. Alright, so I'm not going to record all of this, but I'm going to record some of it doing the Fast Etch. Got it in a spray bottle, and this just kind of helps. Using the Scotch-Brite helps get all the nooks and crannies, and you want to keep it wet according to the directions for like 30 minutes, and then clean it with paint-free or acetone. But you can see how quick it's removing the rust, the surface rust, and it'll leave a phosphoric acid or a phosphoric etch into it, so it should be protected from rust for a while. And then once I get all this done and it's all treated, before I paint or prime, I will go ahead and sand it with like 80 grit just to make sure that we're good. This cross member I had to replace. The one that was in the truck was bent. After I put the front cross member back in, I'll remove this, and then I'll probably put that in the glass cabinet to blast it to get it cleaned up. before I prime and paint. But right now I'm just trying to get rid of all this surface rust. The one drawback to using the pressure washer setup, but it's minor, and that's the whole purpose why I bought the Fast Etch, was to be able to take care of this, and it's doing a phenomenal job. So the last truck I did, I used a lot of Eastwood products, and I've been very satisfied with how that went. So this is after I treated it with the Fast Etch and then cleaned it with the acetone. You can see the difference right there. Did notice one thing. Don't know how well it's going to show up. There's a crack in the frame right there. This bolt, and this bolt. These three are where the steering gearbox was mounted. So apparently there was a lot of stress right there. So I'm going to have to grind some of that out and weld it. Don't know if there's any damage on the inside. Yep. You can see right there at the bottom that there's damage on the inside as well. So I'll get all that cleaned up, and I'll grind some of that out, and I'll weld it. I'll stop drill it and get it all cleaned up, good to go, so I won't have to worry about it. But that's that. Big difference. So there's the inside of the one frame rail, and here it is after being done with the Fast Etch. So all that flash rust is neutralized, and it's got a little bit of a coating on it to keep it from rusting. So I'm going to do this side, and we should be good for now. Got some more to do. I got some to do up in here, and I'm gonna have to fix that bolt hole, but eventually I'll go over and I'll sand this all down, clean up some of these holes. Some of them have some burrs to them, but I'll clean them all up. Like here for the shock mount, that happens right there, and it's a little bit elongated. Looks like there might be a slight crack, or that could be from a lock washer, but I'll clean this all up and make sure that that's not a crack. But that happens when the nut on the inside comes loose, and then this starts, the pin that the top of the shock goes into starts bouncing up and down. And that, I've seen that on a couple of these old trucks. So it's not that big of a deal. Like I said, I'll grind that down and smooth it out, clean it up, make it look good, and eventually I will get this thing all cleaned up. One thing, the VIN number is stamped into these frame rails in numerous locations. There it is again. And there may be more on here, I just haven't uncovered them yet, and they could be rusted up, but all of this stuff I'll be cleaning up and getting nice and smooth, so that when it's painted, it's gonna look good. I was gonna powder coat it, but I have decided against powder coating it, because if I paint it and I end up getting a chip or something, or a scratch in it down the road, I'll have paint and I can go in there and just slightly touch it up, where the powder coat, you're kind of stuck. So, but there we go. Alright, so we're done blasting for today. Got the frame on these stands upside down, and I'm using Eastwood Fast Etch and a Scotch-Brite pad to treat it so that it doesn't rust up. As you can see, there's a lot of flash rust on it, but this will neutralize it so it doesn't continue to rust. You can use this when you're painting cars as well. It etches the metal and neutralizes the rust. Before I prime this, I will go back over it with sandpaper and sand it, but I'm just trying to minimize rust issues right now. Before I start doing any more work on the frame.